you starting now? Is it going? It is. Okay, let me get around the other side. What are we going to talk about today? What's we going to talk about today? Get this to lean on. Okay. Well, there's lots of things we could talk about. How about talking about what it takes to enjoy wine? If you're at all interested in learning about wine, one thing you have to do is be honest with yourself and those who are tasting with you or trying to help you. The only way you're going to learn about wines and how it works with you is if, when you pick up a bottle of wine, basically read the label. Try and understand where it's from. Talk about it with your friends. If you don't honestly know, then we can always get Scotty from the fish market. He knows everything about everything. And I'm going to go away for a minute, okay? Let's see if I can figure out how to shut this thing off. Alright, here we go again. I think where we left off was somewhere about Scotty and the fish, but he's not going to help you learn how to taste wine. So, honesty. If you're not honest with me as your wine merchant, your wine supplier, the one who wants to teach you or help you learn about wine, then I don't really know what you like and don't like. I don't care if you tell me it tastes like wet leather, if it smells like barnyard, if it tastes like pepper. That's a normal one. How about rubber? Also metallic nose. There's a lot of the words that are used to describe wine tasting is invented and made up by the wine taster. Eventually you get to a point where you can understand what other people are saying and they understand you. It's almost like a language. You know, if you're from Argentina and you go to Australia, there's going to come a time that you're going to learn how each other speaks. Even if it's English, you both have a different dialect. Imagine if a Russian and a Frenchman got together. There'd be all kinds of hoopla. Anyway, seriously speaking, to learn and grow in the knowledge of wine, you must be honest, and we got a phone call. So I will shut you down yet again. So honesty. The sooner we get honest with ourselves, the better off we are, whether it be wine tasting or anything. But we're talking about wine here today. And you want to know how to learn about wine, being honest with what you're tasting. Just because a wine has a fancy label, a high price, or a name, well-known name, doesn't mean you're going to like it, especially if it's not served properly. We'll get into the service of wine later, but you got to give, number one, the wine a chance, and you have to go easy on yourself. Be honest. White wines are easier to enjoy, easier to understand in the beginning than red wines, because red wines can be a lot more complex in the way that they're made, the way they taste, the rules and regulations. But white wines, I think most people find are pretty simple, pretty easy to learn about. You know, some might say, oh, that tastes like I got apple juice stuck in my throat and vinegar in my teeth. Acid, simple acid. Most acid dissipates in time, especially with young wines. It mellows out and the fruit comes up more. Some people like the crispness, the crisp, clean taste of a dry white wine. White wines are easier to enjoy because of their light, fruity quality to simple drinking, quaffing. When you're having food, I think that the drier white wines are the ones people like better. If it's too fragrant or fruity or sweet, then it will overcome the flavor of good Whereas if you're only sitting around maybe with some fruit and cheese, a more fragrant wine like a Riesling or a Chenin Blanc or Vouvray, French Vouvray, a Pinot Grigio even would be in that style. And some Sauvignons can have some really nice herbaceous fruit qualities to them. But when you get to the drier wines, some of the Sauvignon Blancs, the Sancerres, the Fumé Blanc, the drier style Sauvignon Blancs, then food is the better mariage. Fish, chicken, pork, the other white meat, cat. No, I love cats. I got 5 cats at home and 2 here at the store. Just a joke. Right, Peter? Right, Peter? Right, Bruce? All right, today we're going to talk about how to taste wine. The most important thing about tasting wine is that you get pleasure out of it. So when opening the bottle of wine, you need to give it proper breathing time. Breathing time depends upon what wine you're tasting. Generally, white wines, I suggest 15 minutes to a half hour. The Chardonnays, at least a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. Wines always breathe better if they're poured into the glass and let set. And the reason being is it's oxygen that allows the wine to breathe. You can actually say that it oxidizes the wine. It rusts the wine. What it actually does is it takes the preservatives that are in the wine, the tannins, the acids, and softens them up. It races them to the finish line, basically. Tannins and acids inside of a wine allow the wine to live longer. But in living longer, it doesn't drink as well early on, so you must breathe the wine in order to allow it to come to fruition. If it's a wine like an older Bordeaux or an older Cabernet, or even a Chardonnay which has 2, 3, 5, 6 years on it, the time it spends in the bottle, the longer the time in the bottle, the less you have to breathe it, because the tannins naturally and acids naturally have reduced themselves to bring the wine's fruit out, being it's a decent vintage, and the wine will drink quicker once opening. Okay, so we open the wine, we pour it in the glass, and if you really want to see the difference, when you first open the wine, pour it in the glass, swirl it. The easiest way to swirl is to set that glass on a table and make a circle with it. You're not going to spill over that way. Pretty soon you get used to where you can hold it upright, swirl it, and it won't spill. Why do you do that? Okay, try this. Cover, as long as you have no perfume or hand lotion or whatnot, cover the top of the glass with your hand, and for about 30 seconds, gyrate that wine, get it moving around. What you're doing is you're allowing the enzymes, the flavor carriers of the wine, to evaporate into that airspace. Then bring the glass, leave your hand on the glass, bring that glass right up to your nose, and gently lift your hand and inhale the wine through the air, through the nose, and you'll get an intense reality of what that wine will be when it's breathed out. Now take a little taste of the wine. Chances are, if it's red, it's going to make your gums feel like you want to itch them, or take a toothpick or scratch them. That's the tannin. In a white wine, if it's just opened and it's a acidic wine, it will make you pucker up like a Granny Smith apple. Let that wine breathe. In 15 minutes, go back to it. Try the same thing, the swirl, the smell, the taste. It'll be a marked difference. In a red wine, go back to it in an hour. If the wine salesperson tells you you need to give it long breathing time, maybe it's 2 hours. Anyhow, at this point in time, we'll take a break from the tutorial and we'll come back to you soon. Thank you.